In a year that's been racked with scandal in the Canadian media, it was no real surprise, I guess, when another scandal broke over the weekend, this time involving Jian Ghomeshi, who was canned from the CBC when the broadcaster became aware of sexual assault allegations that had been leveled against him by a handful of ex-girlfriends. These allegations were published in The Star by Kevin Donovan and Jesse Brown. Now, before The Star's article dropped on Sunday night, Ghomeshi wrote this lengthy 1,000-word Facebook post that felt like it had been heavily spun by Navigator, which is the crisis PR firm that he's contracted. It's the same one that helped try to recuperate the image of MPP Michael Bryant a few years ago, if we all remember that. Ghomeshi insists that all these allegations are bogus, that it's the result of a jilted ex colluding with a conniving freelancer who want nothing more than their own fame. He makes it sound like something out of a Gillian Flynn novel as opposed to the Law and Order SVU episode suggested by the Star's report. But already, the protected sources cited in Donovan and Brown's story are being lambasted as liars and much worse, and in turn, their desire for anonymity is being used to undermine the Star's story, but I mean, frankly, I don't really see why it should. Doesn't the fallout that's already occurring, all the shaming and blaming, even the cliched deferral to a jilted ex-girlfriend, suggest precisely the sort of hostile culture that would make these people want to seek anonymity? And what exactly would any of them, the women who are accusing Ghomeshi or the conniving freelancer who is Jesse Brown, stand to gain from this exactly? Being called liars and worse than liars directly to their faces? Being forced onto a gauntlet of TV news and chat shows? Like, do people think that their long con is that they want to take over the reins at Q? The ways in which Ghomeshi and the spin doctors at Navigator PR have used these cliches speaks to the sort of culture of misogyny that dissuades women and victims from sexual assault from speaking out in this context. In this past year alone, we've seen this culture rear its ugly head a few too many times in everything from the much publicized efforts of so-called men's rights activists, who are ludicrous, as well as more recently in the Gamergate fiasco. Considering all this, considering the context, considering the very real threats of violence and assault, whether physical or verbal or online cyberbullying or whatever, that women face, why shouldn't we respect their desire to remain anonymous?